Hi everyone, it's Warren, and today we're going to be talking about New World, a game made by Amazon Game Studios. Yeah, I said that correctly, Amazon. The company who has made many types of services, from streaming services and typically delivery service, sending packages to your doorstep on a daily basis. But Mr. Jeff Bezos has decided to get involved with the gaming industry and decided to make an MMORPG called New World. This game blew up massively on release, which took even myself by surprise. Majority of the big streamers on Twitch was playing this game. I remember this game having a lot of traction in the beta and the alpha, and hearing things about it. I thought it had never meant up to being what it would be due to Amazon's first release, and them making many mistakes, but I feel like this wasn't true when the game fully released. I was watching for a few hours on Twitch of people playing the game in the background while I was grinding another game, and majority of it I was intrigued to try it for myself. But I had slight doubts in the back of my mind on whether the game was going to hold its player base and popularity. After a day of browsing gameplay, I decided to buy the game, and I must admit, when I first booted up the game I had a queue of 400 players, and I was saddened by this very quickly, thinking that now I'd have to wait around a few hours to play the game. And the next day I logged on and they added more servers with low population servers ready, so I jumped into one and I could play very quickly, and in a few days now the server is pretty much full. From 12 PM UK time to 10 PM with around 200 players in queue wanting to play. So I can't even enjoy the game properly until around bedtime at midnight or early on in the morning. And I know there's a quick resolution to my problem by just creating a new character and going onto another server. But I have already put so much time into my main character. What's the point in jumping into another one? That's my opinion. So that's my first initial thoughts of the game before I actually played. Now let's get into the meat and gravy of this video and speak about the features and the mechanics of the game. So my first initial thoughts of loading into the game is that the game is pretty graphically, and whether it's daytime or nighttime. Because the map is so small, they have put detail in every little area and everything looks polished, from the enemies to the wrecked pirate ships. After that I get into a bit of combat with a one-handed sword, and the combat feels quite smooth, with typical left click to attack and right click to block, like Skyrim you could say. But then as you're killing enemies you unlock skills for your weapon, and I feel like this is a good touch to the game as it gives players a choice on what they would like to pick and what suits their playstyle. And around a few hours in, after playing with this, I was using a sword and shield, and I thought at the time I'd try some new weapons, so I tried a bow and arrow, which to me so far feels a little clunky, but that might just be me being awkward as a player. And also in the footage you can see I've tried out the musket, which to me feels 100 times better than the bow for a ranged weapon, which suits my playstyle. But for my melee weapon I decided to take out the sword and shield and go for a big meaty two-handed axe, because I was terrible at blocking with a shield. So I wanted to go full berserker and go with an axe, which I've had a lot of fun playing with. I started with a mauler side of the tree, going for a bit of an AoE build where I can do massive amounts of damage to a big pack of enemies at a time, but I'm slowly realising that that isn't very good. So midway through the footage I respect the tree, and yes, it's free every time, and I really like this feature as it allows players to change their builds, allowing experimentation with new skills and finding the perfect combo for their weapons. So I changed this very quickly to the Reaper side of the tree, and so far it feels great from the one-on-one DPS, which might help me in PvP running into solo players trying to kill me. So there are many types of professions in the game, from wood chopping, mining, cooking, harvesting, skinning, fishing, and there is many more in that fact. As you can see by the gameplay to begin with, you can get lost with the amount of profession farming you can actually do with brainlessly farming wood or stone. I would recommend early on just to get through the main story up until you get to your factions, as this can take away a lot of time from you getting into the nitty gritty of the game where all the quests are with a good XP and rewards. You ideally want to be doing this in between those quests, whether it's waiting for an animal to spawn that you want to hunt, or just if you need a break from all the fighting. Also, to give you a quick tip, as you level up reputation with a specific town or area, you can unlock storage space, and store all your items in, so it's always worth storing your unnecessary items so they're in there. There are also different trade vendors in the towns. They might help you trade your stone, leather or wood into different crafting items and jump your level up. As you can see from the footage, I had over 160 leather in my inventory, and I go to the leather rack and craft it into something else and gained up to level 30 in leather working. And this is brainlessly from running around killing animals and skinning them for loot. I didn't even think about going to a vendor or going to one of the many tools within the game to be able to gain extra levels in that area. So a big factor in this game is the PvP, with the wars and area reputation, and the factions that own that area depends on your server. With the different colour of factions on the map, it reminds me of GTA San Andreas with how the territory looked on the map. It made me laugh a little, but as your factions progress through the game, you can have a full-blown PvP war with the other faction. And taking that area is amazing to me. It actually gives you an incentive to play PvP, and it does have an impact on your own gameplay. As factions own other areas, it can affect stuff like trading costs, house costs, when you eventually buy one, so try and take that into account. I'm going to jump into some pros and cons and what I think about the game. So straight away I'll go with the negative, and for me it's the servers. The fact I have to wait in a giant queue times or wait till midnight to play is ridiculous, but it is what it is. I could make a quick solution to my problem and have another character on another server, but I really can't be bothered. The positive though would be the mechanics. They feel smooth to play and fun when you learn the mechanics, though the heavy armour feels like trash to dodge with. And many players recommend that you go for light armour for the silky smooth dodges and just pure speed. Another negative, and probably my last, sometimes it feels like the enemies just have a lock on. When you dodge them and their body just snaps right round and they just attack you, and clearly you've dodged them and jumped behind them. I think this is just annoying. And at times I've had it with a few enemies, like the zombie looking monsters. The bigger enemies feel a lot easier to dodge and to manoeuvre around, which is understandable. So I'm going to throw two more positives in the mix and say that the fact that this game feels different to other RPGs, even though I've had many of my personal friends compare it to Guild Wars 2, which I've never played, so I can't make that comparison for myself. And also the graphics, because every area and every little detail feels polished, and I know I've said this before, but this is a positive to me. As some massive MMORPGs can have giant maps that take years to go from one end to the other and have so much detail unfinished or just looking like crap. I feel like with this map it is quite condensed and it won't take you as long to walk from one area to area, and because of that the game doesn't really require any mounts. Some tips and tricks before you start playing the game would be to grab some honey either from trees or the town stations, and also water from lakes or beach areas. This is very good early food source and I'm still using it to this day, so it's very accessible and it's very easy to obtain. Also a quick note would be, if you can get a hatchet early on I would advise it, as it has the berserker trait, which has a little node underneath which gives movement speed, which if you want to speed around through the early quests, it's a great idea. Also, 1, you have a good weapon with decent damage, and 2, you have the berserker, which gives 20% more melee damage as well as the movement speed. So you want to keep this up all time for pure speed. Also, early on you don't need to fight every enemy you see, just because this can waste a lot of time and the enemies don't reward a lot of experience compared to the quests you get from your faction board. When you arrive at your faction board, select the faction that you would like to go in, and then go to the faction board and select the quests and keep rinsing and repeating every time you go back to a town, and complete them as you're running through the main quests, because they reward you with faction currency and a lot of XP, which constantly doing this can level you up a level per hour. I found between level 13 to 18 it's quick leveling. Also, once you've built up enough faction currency to go to buy rewards on your faction board, and there is decent gear that you can buy, which will most definitely set you up so you can deal with PvP. Having decent gear as you play, also having PvP on is also worth it because it gives you a 10% extra XP bonus. If you're feeling risky and occasionally want to fight some scrubs, which can also reward you for killing other players with XP and loot. So keeping PvP on is 100% worth it. From time to time I don't keep it on myself, it just kind of depends on what area my faction's leading in. So that's the end of my initial thoughts and tips for New World. Let us know down in the comments below if you've been playing and what you think of the game so far. Leave a like, comment and ding dong that notification bell for more uploads from Adamo. And this is Warren, and I'm peacing out.